Welcome to the channel. Today we're honored to be joined by Crystal Tryon-Smith, an inspiring media host, entrepreneur, kingdom voice, and the visionary host of Empowered for Victory. Through her work in media, leadership, and global empowerment, Crystal has dedicated her life to encouraging others to discover purpose, overcome challenges, and lead lives of impact. In this conversation, we'll explore her remarkable journey, the influence of faith on her leadership, her passion for empowering communities, and the lessons she's learned while inspiring people across the globe. Please join me in welcoming the incredible Crystal Tryon-Smith to the show. How are you, Crystal?
Hi, Siddharth. Thank you so much for having me part of today. And just it is really just such a blessing. So thank you so much. And to the listeners, thank you for joining us and those who will join us after the broadcast as well. It's really good to be here.
Thank you. Crystal, your journey beautifully blends media, entrepreneurship, faith, and global empowerment. Looking back, what defining moments shaped you into the woman and leader you are today?
Well, the journey of faith and this journey that we call life is really filled with many different seasons. And I think that when we understand that the role that your community and those who are around you play in your life, you realize that what we are exposed to impacts us. And so for me, I'm thankful that I'm a product of leadership that has influenced my life. And I will really begin at home with my parents, the late Dr. Basil Tryon and my mom, Dr. Anne Tryon. And they are living examples. I feel that, the power of community is so impacting. And I was really impacted by the journey of my parents and their role an example, not just as leaders within the Christian faith. My mum also medical platforms of her impact and her life, but also just how what they spoke on public and what they lived in private was the same voice, and that truly impacted me. And then it moves on from there. I believe education not only has an impact on our lives but also educators and those formative years. And I don't think it just ends there, but the people that we expose our lives to that impact us in the different parts and areas of our lives. And I've seen that. I've seen how community, how leaders, how parent and family, and then it moves on to your work environment and then the platforms of your sphere of influence and those people who are you are impacted by whose role models that you see lived out and not just on the platforms but in person. It has impacted me.
Awesome. As a self-described kingdom voice, how has your faith influenced the way you lead, communicate, and make decisions, especially during life's most challenging seasons?
So that, it's very important for us to understand that the power of faith, it really is a spiritual force. It's a spiritual force. It's not, I'm grateful that we can be motivated, but we must always be motivated into action. The age we're living in, when we are reliant on just an emotional moment, it is passing because emotions fluctuate with seasons. But when you are anchored in deep core values of your faith, not just being something that you read about, but it is something that you live out. And so when I realized that who I am is anchored in my faith, the values that I have, my character that has been shaped and continues to be shaped. I realize that I don't just leave my faith or the values that I have anchored in the faith that I have, but it influences and impacts the boardroom, the classroom, the bedroom, the place of community, because who we are in public starts with who we are in private. And so the anchor of my faith is really in essence the foundation of who I am.
Oh, beautiful. Throughout through your television platform, Empowered for Victory, you've You've inspired countless people. What is the core message you hope every viewer walks away with after watching your program?
For me, Empowered for Victory is an approach to life. I feel that we're living in an age where there are so many platforms, so many voices, and when we are empowered, we every viewer that comes onto the platform must leave with a tool to activate and implement in their lives, because we can be motivated, we can be emotionally stirred up, and charisma is something that is so attractive. But when we come into contact or are blessed with platform like yourself, where people's eye gate and ear gate and the seed of knowledge and the seed of empowerment leaves our platforms. For me, the higher purpose for everything is that people's lives will be transformed, and that the seed of knowledge, the seed of truth, will be able to be in its purest form, meet them at their point of need, so that they have something in their hand to activate, to shift them from where they are to where they want to be.
Powerful. You've empowered individuals across different communities and nations. What are some of the common struggles people face today, and what practical principles have you found consistently help people overcome them?
Sure. What I love about that, Siddharth, is that we are human, but I believe
Hmm.
that we are also born spirit, and we are spiritual beings in this natural realm. And this is where I believe that your mindset also gives you a life shift. So when we can challenge the thoughts in our minds, that we are not captive to our past or our experiences or the seasons that we face, then we are able to live life with purpose, because everything in life has a purpose. But we've got to understand that there is a power in the choice that we make. Every one of us have the power of choice. And I'm saying that by not diminishing the experiences that we individually go through. I mean, it was over 8 years ago I got a diagnosis of cancer, and it was really quite an overwhelming season. But it was my response to what I had to go through that made all the difference. And oftentimes we get locked in with where we are and where we want to go, or where we believe we want to be. But we've got to understand that our minds, we are transformed. Change comes to us when we actually challenge the mindset. So you have someone like the Honorable Nelson Mandela, who really was in prison for 27 years, but the power of a mindset, a different kind of a heart attitude, a different kind of a spirit of the heart, because they couldn't break his spirit. They may have limited him into a prison cell, or we may see tragedy or challenges that happen to us, and irrespective of our backgrounds, whether it's language, whether it's religion, whether it's culture, I believe that there's a much higher a power that connects us as humans, as those who are born with a spirit to overcome. And so I believe in the power of love, I do believe in the power of faith, and I believe that when we are empowered with the right mindsets, then we can be equipped to be the change we want to see.
Wow. The media has tremendous influence in today's world. How do you
That's
intentionally use your voice and platform to create positive change while remaining authentic to your values?
now media. I mean, media is a voice. It's conditioning minds. I mean, at the
Mm,
end of the day,
that's true.
people hear and what they see. We have mindsets of our conditioned, what is an acceptable image to portray, and yet we are chasing something that is not even real. With the apps that we have, and aging gracefully, or just this kind of a how we need to be perceived to be successful. And so media is a powerful voice. Because why is it a powerful voice? Because it's conscientizing mindsets. It's such a, and it's because it affects the eye gate and the ear gate. And so platforms, like yourself, is so very impacting, because we are offering authentic words, because I believe words are creative forces. And so when we have these conversations, we open up the mind, we open up our hearts, and we are able to hear powerful word seeds. Because I believe life is about sowing and reaping. At the end of the day, as long as there's life, there will always be a sowing and a reaping. And so when we can sow truth, on how we live our lives, and how our victories can really encourage somebody else to say, you know what, if Siddharth can overcome that and follow his passion, if Crystal T can really use whatever she has and the gifts that she has to make a difference, not just globally, but it starts where we make the difference by being the difference we can make in every sphere of our lives. And so I believe that media plays a powerful a part in that. And in life, there's always, the positive and the negative. And I think the discipline that we need to have as individuals is, whether it's AI, we rather not be afraid of it, but embrace, and see
That's
how
true.
we use it to be able to bring out our truth. And I think that's the same with media. It's a powerful tool. And when we have leaders who have a positive role model and a positive impact on our generation, when those platforms can be embraced and used for the right purpose, then I believe we're on the right track.
As an entrepreneur, you've had a balanced vision, leadership, and purpose. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who want to build businesses that create both financial success and lasting impact? Oh, sorry for my voice.
No, it's fine. For your perseverance. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I believe my advice for the entrepreneur is once again a mindset. Remember that we must start with the end in mind, and when we our character, develop your character before you want to develop a business plan is just as important. I also feel, as entrepreneurs, we've got to understand, we must know the purpose for why we are actually developing that business. And when you can live with purpose, then you will keep a passion alive. Yes, many entrepreneurs begin, but they begin with the wrong mindset. And then one bad year, or one difficult contract, or one reply that says you cannot get this tender or this opportunity, you lose your passion. And because it's not anchored and begins at the right platform, where you understand the reason why you're doing what you are doing, and you've located where your faith is, and you've measured what is your internal value. Because in life, like an entrepreneur, there are many seasons that we go through. And when we are prepared, then we are able to do the best that we can. We are able to surround ourselves with the right community that have gone ahead of us. But, most important is to be able to understand that as an entrepreneur, you've got to have the right mindset for being able to be consistent, to be able to not compare yourself to somebody else who's probably in the end of their journey, and you just starting with it. And keep that celebration, and that passion alive by celebrating your journey and your success, and surround yourself with the right mindsets and people.
Powerful. You've worn many hats: media host, entrepreneur, speaker, mentor, and kingdom leader. How do you maintain balance, protect your well-being, and continue growing personally while serving others?
Sure, Siddharth. I think that that is such an important question. because we were just talking earlier how important it is to pour out from a cup that's full, because life is challenging. Life, you go through many different seasons in life, and we're not defined by the seasons we go through. We are defined by how we go through it, because it's not what you're going through, it's where you're going to. And that mindset is powerful. My dad would always say that we don't see things as they are in life, you see things as you are. So our experiences shape us, our influences shape us, and that is why environment is so important. The people who have a voice in your life is so important. And so at the end of the day, that's where my conviction is, that's where my passion and my heart is that what we put in is what we're going to get out. And to sustain us and to anchor us, we have got to be anchored in faith. We've got to be anchored in love. We've got to be anchored in knowing the purpose that we were born. They say a powerful leader, Dr. Miles Monroe, often said there's two very important days in your life: the one you were born and the one you realize the purpose for why you were born. Because when you have purpose, you have a passion, Siddharth. You know, you can go through the trial. You can sit on this platform and still be fighting off the flu as you are remarkably, because there's a passion inside of you. There's a conviction that you can go to bed late, you can get up early in the morning. And I feel that in life, it is very sad to see that people may be accomplishing on different levels, but they're doing it without a passion, without a heart, and then that takes away from just the total life experience that we were born to have. And I thank God that we have these opportunities to remind one another that you can follow your passion, you can live the dream by not comparing yourself to others, but being at peace with who you've been created to be and be the best version of yourself.
Beautiful. Many people feel struck by fear, disappointment, or self-doubt. From your own experiences in coaching, what practical steps can someone take to rediscover their purpose and move forward with confidence?
Moving forward with confidence really begins with embracing who you are, embracing who you've been created to be. And, I really believe in a spirit and a heart of thankfulness, of gratitude. I believe that when we realize that we are our greatest asset, that we've been given as our greatest asset. We don't need to compare ourselves, but we can be inspired and motivated other people's achievements, successes. But we've got to always look within. There's an African proverb that says to us that when we conquer the enemy within, Siddharth, then the enemy without cannot do us any harm. And at the end of the day, we see people that are accomplishing, that are speaking the big talk, but when you really look at their hearts and their behind those closed doors, it's not the same passion, it's not the same conviction. And I feel that if we can have an impact, that your public persona and your private a person who you are can be in a balance, then we are striving for alignment in our lives. We are striving for peace. There's a scripture in the Bible that says that God will give us perfect peace whose heart and mind is stayed on him, and that he will guard our heart and guard our mind. So when your mind and your heart is at peace, you will be able to be all that you are called to be. So I really do believe that if we can find that public persona and that private person who we are, and allow it to come into alignment with our convictions, our faith, our spirituality, then we will be able to extend love. We will be able to be more peaceable. We will be able to understand that you can be more tolerant. You don't have to be in a constant state of, I need to accomplish, this is where I need to go. And yes, we believe that we want to be goal orientated, but we've got to be able to understand that we've got to be first changed within to be able to see the change on the outside.
You've had opportunities to connect with people from diverse cultures and backgrounds. What lessons have those global experiences taught you about leadership?
You know, I believe love is a, we, in our family, we say love is our superpower. And I do
Wow.
believe that love does conquer all. I believe, Siddharth, there's more that we have in common than we don't have in common globally. The language of love transcends every barrier. And I believe if we can keep getting back to that place where there is the pureness of love, where a mother and a child, where we understand that we are created as brothers and sisters, where we are able to, feel for those who are in a place of hopelessness, and also celebrate with those who are accomplishing, because oftentimes people they find it easier to be able to be there for those who are in a struggle. But when someone is accomplishing and soaring, they don't get that same support, because we often see that society feels threatened by success, but yet when we can be inspired by that. So we don't need to compare ourselves. And I feel that globally, no matter what language you speak, the language of love will always prevail. And so I'm a creative as well. And so I believe not just in the language of love, which is, what is love? Really, what is love? That's the question we've got to ask ourselves. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, love is patient, love is kind, love is long suffering. Love does not boast. Love has no envy. Love does not want to see your brother in a place where they are being depleted. You have the power to help them. So, love is a doing word. Love is a doing word. And I feel across the globe, across cultures, across languages, there is more that we have in common, that we differ on. And I feel at the core of that is the power of love, which just really realizes that we are all in this world. We have the same blood. We have blood flowing through our veins. And so when we focus on the power of love, then we will be able to be an example of that love and put love in action. But coming back to the question of how do we connect as a creative, I've also seen how music is such a powerful tool. You look at a child, that music plays, and then they start moving or they start dancing. You see an old lady, even if they can't be up, they will just tap that hand. And so I believe that music really, I've seen in my life as an artist. I've just released a song called What Kind of Love Is This? And it's a love that is patient, and that's what the song says. But love can be expressed in music because it transcends all of these barriers. And so I've seen how music can unite as well.
Powerful. All right, I'll get to my final question and then I'll get to this comment question over here. Looking ahead, what exciting projects, new initiatives, or God-given vision are you most passionate about pursuing, and how can people support to become part of that journey?
Well, at the moment, we are involved in our winter drive. And so we've been a part of our CTP, my company, which is focused on the three pillars: empowerment, training, and production. And we are excited about our winter drive. We've been involved in, feeding schemes, as well as just the distribution of clothing, and also training and empowerment. So to partner with us, you're most welcome to visit us on our social medias to see how you can partner with that. As we see the end of this year, we will continue extending the brand of the company, as well as our outreach with Empowered for Victory. And I think most important is that it is a season, I believe, of collaboration, of partnership, and that's what I'm looking forward to in the future, where we have partnerships. I mean, as a platform as this is so important, because there's got to be a coming together for where we want to have impact and transformation, not just information, but transformation. I think that partnership and collaboration is going to be key. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. All right, I'll get to this comment question quickly. This
Mm,
was from Jitan. Hi,
yes.
Crystal. You are beautiful and love your vibe. What is your advice for people who are contemplating media?
If you can just read that out to me again, what was the question, Siddharth? Or I can't really, it's not picking
Oh,
up here.
sure. That's fine. This is from Resh Jitan. She's asking, Hi, Crystal. You are beautiful and love your vibe. What is your advice for people who are contemplating media?
Great. So, thank you so much for that. It's so wonderful when people can freely encourage and gift others, because it says to me what is inside of you actually more than anything else. So, thank you for those wonderful words. And yes, media is so powerful. You must understand that to be able to pursue that, you've got to get into an environment where you are it's something practical, and yet it's something that you've got to understand your tool and your craft. There's nothing better than partaking and participating in media. So if you have a passion for media, I would say the first thing that you need to do is get practical, get connected with people who are involved in that field. We've just been doing on-set training as well for the production, because we have the studio where we do the recording. So get practical, get involved, and link up with those who are, can allow you to be on the set if you're looking at broadcast. Get into a studio if you are involved, if you're passionate about radio. And if you want to be behind the scenes on camera, get into an environment that you can be exposed to. We just done our movie Treasure Hunt, which was on the movie houses. But the first movie that I done was with Eubulus Timothy here in KZN, called Deep
Oh,
End. Won the award for best filmmaker. But that was the first movie I done in 2018. And when there was the free times and the free moments, I was like there by the cameras, looking at the screens, understanding technically how they link up and work together, not just being a performer in front of the cameras and an actress. So that would be my advice: get practical and get connected.
awesome. Thanks so much for your time, Crystal, and thanks for bearing with my coughing in between.
No, absolutely. It's been just so amazing. And I just want to commend you for the platform and the opportunity, and just for letting your voice make a difference. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.